Good evening, everyone. We'll wait a few moments, let people trickle in. Catherine, thank you for co-hosting. I saw you earlier.
You're welcome. Hello.
Oh, there you are off to the side. That's 2 weeks in a row, isn't it?
It is.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Anyway, last week I got so excited about being together that I forgot our initial greeting time. So it's always a nice thing to hear each other's voices, to feel that sense of a collective. The closest that we can simulate being in person is to just say hello, say where you're calling in from, and as many as are willing to have your camera on, at least for this time. So, hello everyone. Feel free to unmute whenever you want to say
Hi, everybody. Charlie from Maine.
Hey, Charlie, welcome.
Hello from San Francisco.
Where was San Francisco? Oh, Frank and Rhonda, welcome.
Katie from San Francisco.
Hey, Katie.
Jill from Regina.
Hey, Jill.
Hmm.
Prairies.
Another Jill from Edmonton.
Hey, Jill. Good to see you.
David from Edmonton.
It's Leith from Edmonton. We've got lots of Edmonton tonight.
Oh,
Hi, David.
Hi, Lee.
Peter from Edmonton as well.
oh, wow. Great. The more the merrier.
Dan from Jackson Hole. Hi.
Hey, Dan. Good to see you.
Hi, Howie. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, from Daly City too, Gabriela. Hi.
Los Angeles. Sorry.
Nice. Sana? Sana. Welcome.
Thanks.
David from India.
Hi, Eugene from San Francisco.
Hey, Eugene. There's David from where?
India, Goa.
Oh, from Goa. Welcome from Goa.
Wow.
I won't even try to figure out what time it is there.
Morning time.
Morning time. Wonderful. Glad you're with us.
Glen, Palm
Hi,
Desert,
Howie.
California.
Rebecca from San Francisco.
Hey, Rebecca.
Santa Barbara.
Hey, Mary. Hey, Rebecca. I see Ray there. Nice to see you. I got a phone call right as I was starting, so just to put this thing on do not disturb. Thank you. So glad to hear your voices. Glad to see you. You might want to just take a moment to look around the Zoom room and see your fellow Zoomies. And then remember, as you carry them into your inner life, a beautiful combination of seclusion, being alone, but knowing that you're being alone together, and letting yourself be lifted, supported, sustained by everyone who's practicing with you. So this is our opportunity to have that kind of lifting support, but also sustain a period of practice. And so let your eyes close softly and of course, if you want to practice with your eyes open, that's okay, but often there's a general need to feel a little bit of the seclusion of the eyes closed to kind of reclaim the sense of embodied awareness. So, but however you are supported, I will describe what I'm doing by gently closing the eyes and just feeling the touch of the eyelids. It's already moving from the idea or concept of eyes and eyelids to just that touch sensation. Moving along to the felt experience of the contact points where the rear touches the cushion or the chair. Feeling that elemental experience as the idea of chair and rear end gives way to the feeling of heaviness, sensation, pressure, and nature experienced through the body. Feeling the form or the shape of the sitting body that's really none other than points of sensation, like flickering like stars in an evening sky. Just letting that aliveness be felt without doing anything or undoing anything, just being aware of the sitting body and sensations. Noticing how awareness settling into the body and the body filling awareness brings naturally a byproduct of stilling. That is a very relaxed stillness, unforced, just the natural effect of a harmonizing of attention and body. And then feeling and noticing the body's experience of breathing. This riding the waves very intimately of each breath, feeling its texture. Wherever it's most obvious. For some, it will be the nostrils or upper lip. For some, it will be the chest or the belly as it rises and falls. For some, it'll be the whole body as it expands and contracts with each breath. Just resting in the state of being aware of the body as the body and the breath as the breath. Making no effort to alter this natural experience, this selfless experience of the body breathing. Just this breath, just this moment. Just a few breaths and the mind becomes a little bit more empty of its usual obsessions, a little more filled with the life of the present moment, and creating a space to be embodied and aware of just this breath. As a support, keeping an intention to allow this breathing body to be our anchor or support for awareness. But allowing the breath to graciously give way to other predominant experiences. When other sensations move to the foreground of awareness, we receive those. Make room for whatever sensations are felt. Pleasurable, painful, neither pleasurable or painful. Making room for different moods and emotions that may roll through our mind stream like changing weather. Experiencing them just as they are: sadness, joy, ease, calm, agitation, resistance, whatever it is. Experiencing that presently arising state of the heart or mind. And the breath from time to time giving way to thoughts and images that float through like clouds, making room, being with everything equally. And when they are no longer predominant or compelling, we just settle back in again to the simple experience of being aware, supported by the general body awareness and breath. Just this moment. Just a friendly reminder that when you realize that you have been lost in thought, drifting in a mind bubble, this is not a problem. This is actually good news that mindfulness has come back online. It's rearisen. So appreciate that moment of waking up, being aware, and then in support of remaining anchored to this simple living present, we find our body again, breath, and that simple yet ultimate experience of simply being aware. Just this moment. Remembering that mindfulness has no agenda other than to notice the presently arising experience and sustain attention to that present experience, to see its nature, how it behaves. But it has no other agenda. It's not trying to make anything happen, get rid of anything, fix anything, figure anything out, solve any problems. So the magic of mindfulness, why it's so much like love, is that it just welcomes the presently arising experience and then sees what happens. Non-interfering, non-judgmental awareness. Just this moment. Real treat to sit with you tonight, just what the doctor ordered, at least on my end. As we most often do, I'd like to create a little space for questions about your practice, relevant to perhaps what you experienced tonight or your practice in general. Comments, concerns, descriptions. Usually we use the raised hand function, but if you just raise your hand like this, and I can call on you and then you can unmute, but whoever, are there any questions and topics? And a reminder that whatever question, comment, description that you have that's somewhat relevant to what we're doing here will be of some benefit, use to someone else. So it's part of the dana, the generosity of sangha. It's not only what we receive, it's what we offer. So anyone wants to ask or anything you want me to speak about, feel free. This is good. This is a good sign. Mind is rendered pacified. Please, Peter, feel free. Thanks for breaking the ice.
Hi, Howard. Thank you very much. In this meditation, I found myself about 4 times falling asleep. And I'm just wondering how I can go about not doing that, if that's possible.
Thank you for the question. Well, there's so many ways I could go with this, but what usually comes to mind when, just so you know that the question of sleepiness and dullness comes up really almost every week or every retreat, every sitting. And not that you are not unique, you are a unique expression of life, but it is a commonly shared experience of being human, is that we get sleepy and when we try to practice. And what usually comes to mind is that your mind is likely fairly tranquil in those moments that you start to drift off, but you don't have enough energy to sustain that, to sustain your attention, to match the tranquility. So there's an ever-changing balance in our practice between energy, vital energy, or mental energy, and tranquility. And when tranquility is high and energy is low, we fall asleep. So what's generally needed as our own authority in our practice, to guide our own practices, we can see that we need more energy. That's the first place that we enter. Other than just noticing, sometimes gaining energy just by paying attention to the state of dullness or sleepiness. Because mindfulness creates energy. And so mindfulness of dullness itself can create some energy. the energy of mindfulness. But often that doesn't quite balance the tranquility that's a little bit stronger at the time that you start to fall asleep. And so for that reason, we have to sometimes employ something that will be energizing, and sometimes opening the eyes real wide, or practicing in general with the eyes open, just taking in light, taking a more precise posture, not letting our, unfortunately the Zoom room is filled with people sitting on chairs. And when you sit on a chair, there's a tendency for the back to round, and then the inclination is to all forward. If you can let your back be free in the chair, put a slight forward tilt on your pelvis, just that energy to hold your body up will sometimes balance the tranquility. But what I generally recommend, and what I've seen is the absolute reliable antidote for dullness, is to stand up and practice standing. As I often say, we've never lost anyone standing. It's, you won't fall over, but that little extra energy to hold your body up will balance the tranquility. So try that at least. And then the other thing that's much more an ongoing thing in practice is we do 2 formal practices, sitting and walking, and the walking helps build energy. And so linking sitting and walking together, you might even do a little walking practice before this evening sitting in the days that you come here, and you may find you have more energy. But then in our daily life, starting to spread the mindful attention around so that the mindful energy grows in your life and can help sustain you. And then if all else fails, take a nice nap, go to sleep, get enough sleep, see how you're living your life in a way that may be exhausting you more than you need to be. So anyway, thanks for the question and good luck.
Thank you, Howard.
Mary Gold, please feel free.
Hi, Howie. Well, first of all, I want to wish you a happy new year and a happy new year to everyone. Happy, healthy year for our country, for everybody, the world,
Yes.
everybody in it. I just wanted to share last week, I had some kind of deadline that I was not going to make, and I was experiencing some anxiety. I don't know if you remember. And that's, I think, only the second time in my life I've really had like an anxiety attack. And, but I was surprised at what I just wanted to share some of the things that worked for me in case anybody else ever has an anxiety attack. Because I think my go-tos are like doing meditation, Tai Chi, that kind of stuff. And that worked up to a point, but for some reason, it wasn't, there were some other things that really were very helpful. And I mean, I tried everything, hugging friends, reading a mystery, watching a movie, and everything worked to a degree. But a couple of things that really worked well for me personally, anyway, was I went to the beach and I just threw a towel down on the sand, no chair, and I just laid down in the sand, and I felt really grounded. And just listening to the ocean, and just breathing with it. And it would be true if it was in nature too, just laying on the grass or something. And the other thing, oddly enough, which surprised me because, I'm an artist and I do artwork, was I found like just even doodling, like doing any kind of little artwork that just took my mind right there. I had to, it didn't even have to be anything great. It could just be a doodle. It was really very grounding. So anyway, I just thought, because I was in such a panic experiencing that,
Yes.
I share.
Happy for you. And each thing that you did, though, just emptied your mind of its usual obsessions and got you much more into present time, and sounds wonderful. And I think I love that modeling of being, of a creative response to That doesn't have to be a cookie cutter experience. That you trust your awareness, trust yourself to find support.
Yeah, I think it was just pulling myself back from this ominous future worry, into the present moment.
Yes, into the present moment.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your help too.
What's that, Mary?
For your help too. You gave me some advice too. So it's basically come back to your body, come back to the present, It worked.
Great. So happy to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you, and happy it all eased up. Anyone else before we shift gears? Please feel free. Lori from Seattle, and then Leith. We'll make space for you.
Okay.
Lori,
Hi, Howie.
good evening.
Hi. I wanted to ask, what's the role in your view, if any, of humor in all of this? Because I find that so often the mind stream is just hilarious in the sense that it's just kind of what it comes up with, the randomness, the creativity, the where did that come from? I mean, I know there's like the serious side of like rehearsing or thinking or judging, but the more like just wildness of it all. And so I find myself often just sort of chuckling, and maybe that's okay, and then I just bring myself back. But
No, that's cheating.
but
That's cheating.
oh, that's some good humor.
No, it's the most hysterical thing in the world to notice what's going on in our mind. Once we make that shift from being just caught up in it, carried along by it, to noticing it, you see that it's quite hilarious, as you said, and will make you chuckle. I don't know if it just reminded me of there was a Zen teacher who used to do Zen, Zen sesshin, and you would do the dokusan, the little interview with the teacher, and someone asked him, he says, do you go to comedies or do you go to the movies? Or he says, no, I give interviews because people's minds are so hysterical. So it is tremendous entertainment if we can see it as mind and not be so bound up in the story of it all. Yeah, so wonderful. I'm so happy for you to have your funny bone.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Leith, please feel free.
Hi, Howie. I just had a question for you about dreams. I wanted to share an experience last week that I had. I was in the morning, I woke up and I wasn't ready to get up. I was just saying, I just want to lay here. So I put on a guided meditation that one of my friends had sent me that was called Spectrum of Awareness. And I went back to sleep. But while I was sleeping, I was aware that I was sleeping. Like my little 6-year-old granddaughter was in my dream, but she was only 3 years old. And I'm going, well, no, she's 6. I must be dreaming. And then we were playing with my cats and it was all loving. And oh, my cats have been gone for 10 years. I must be dreaming. So I was so aware that I was dreaming, all these little things I was checking. And it was just neat because I'd been listening to this guided meditation on spectrum of awareness. So I just wanted to ask you, are dreams important at all? Does it matter? Is it any more important to remember the dream than it is to remember what I had for breakfast? Or I just want to know your take on dreams.
Oh, well, my take is just one of many takes on dreams, but in the Theravada tradition, at least the tradition of the elders, the dreams are just mental phenomena, and that we treat them as just changing conditions. We don't get involved too much in the content of them. But then in the Zen tradition, in the Tibetan tradition, there's dream yoga, where you actually guide your dreams. You learn about lucid dreaming, just as you described. You're aware that there's a dream, and you can actually guide it. And gain a certain facility of mindful attention in dreams. It's actually not that common to have mindfulness in dreams, but it's possible. And so it sounds like it's happened for you. And you could look into dream yoga. That is an interesting thing. There is someone in our Sangha, the former president of our board, who her life work is to normalize dreams, help people work with their dreams, learn from their dreams. And so for her, it's really been essential in her awakening process in her life in general. And for me, dreams have not been a central theme. There's enough going on in the waking dream that's been captivating enough and educational enough that I haven't engaged as much in the nighttime dreaming. So another one of my teachers said, if you can simply let the dreams come and go, it's one less life you'll have to live. So that was also slightly tongue-in-cheek. So anyway, thanks for the question. Don't really know the answer except how it works for me. Okay, going to shift into some of the reflections that I was having today. I want to go back to Mary Gold on the beach in Santa Barbara, putting a towel on the sand and just lying there. And what that immediacy of taking in the sound of the ocean and the feeling the support of the sand on the back, it's one of the elements of that is it drops us into real time. But that real time is what's what may be the most important element of real time is that there's awareness there. We're just much more aware, and awareness that is sustained by the immediacy of our experience begins to just emanate or radiate a fragrance of more peace. It's pacifying. It takes the awareness itself takes the stickiness out of our mind stream, the stream of consciousness, stream of distress, because the stickiness is often our mind being caught up in what we want to happen, something that we want to happen in the future that we don't know about. And so anxiety is often about what has not yet occurred. And so our mind becomes very tight when it's in a state of waiting or wanting or hoping or expecting. And then it also becomes quite tight when because we don't know what will happen, it becomes tight when there's fear. And if there can be awareness of fear, awareness of desire, awareness of anxiety, awareness of that presently arising experience, that awareness itself has a gradual effect of pacifying, loosening the stickiness of the grasping in the mind and the aversion in the mind, and especially the delusion of the mind, of getting caught up in the story of me. Because where is the story of me when there's just the sand on my back and the sun radiating and the sound of the waves? There's a momentary, at least, cessation, a falling away of the story of me. And it's really those moments when we're just very present are often the happiest moments of our life, the most easeful moments of our life. And yet the idea that we're going to give up our identities terrifies us. But we do it all the time in these simple moments of mindfulness. There's just whatever it is that's being noticed. And it's very user-friendly to be free of a view of self. And in the I think I may have quoted this recently in this sutra from the Mahayana school, called the Avatamsaka Sutra. Sutra means discourse or teaching. The Avatamsaka Sutra says, having no view of self, one is always peaceful. And when we don't have a view of ourselves, what are we? We're aware. We're aware of the present experience. And in a way, being aware so easily undervalued, underappreciated. Being aware is at the heart of mindfulness is that, how can I say this? Mindfulness just, in a sense, it has one function. It's, other than to know, it makes room. It makes space. It's, in a way, the art of meditation is the art of making space. What are we making space for? We're making space for what is present. So when you put your attention on your breath right now, mindfulness just is making room for that. It's allowing that breath to be known, to be experienced. So it's putting us in touch with, in a sense, it's making space for direct experience. It's making space for direct experience. What's the difference? What other kind of experience is there but direct experience? Mostly we're experiencing through what I call the historical view of ourselves. We're seeing through the lens of the past, or we're caught up in the story of where we've been and where we're going. But just that simple noticing of my body, noticing my breath, noticing the light, the sand, wherever it may be, that itself, in a way, is making space for present experience. And even when that experience, and this is not always so easy, and this is one of the things I may have said to Mary last week, even when what is being made space for is the experience of anxiety. And there's an art to being with the experience of anxiety, but mindfulness does actually alter the experience of anxiety simply by making room for it. So this is an underappreciated element of the simple practice of mindful attention. It is, in a way, it is an art of making space. And why is it important to make space? Because there is often an experience of not having enough space, not having enough time, of being too busy, of being too absorbed, too rushed, to this, to that. And what comes with that feeling of not having enough, of having not enough, a feeling of lack, is there is a kind of tightness, there's a hunger, there's a feeling of distress, and the feeling of there's not enough space here. And that feeling can easily kind of snowball into a trance, into a view of reality that there's just not enough space. But then we stop for a moment, and even whatever that experience is that you're having that's giving you that feeling of not space, if you make space for that, oh, this is what the feeling of feeling closed in is like, or like not having enough time. And if you sit with that for a moment, you just bring mindful attention, you make space for that in your mind, because most of the feeling of not having enough space is because of where our mind and heart are dwelling in some kind of contracted state. So the moment you notice, oh, this is what my heart, this is what it is This is what the experience of having my mind feel claustrophobic or my heart being shut down. This is what it feels like. And then if I can, as I talked about during the sitting tonight, mindfulness has only two, in a way, one function, which is to notice. But I said tonight to notice and then sustain our attention, to see what that experience that is being noticed, how it behaves, what happens to it, so that we can actually experience nature, its nature. Once that experience of feeling claustrophobic or not enough space, or if we come out of that story, I'm not unlovable, whatever it is, and just feel it for a moment, make space for it, hover for a moment. In that space of awareness, then there's a capacity, there's an intuition, there's a wisdom that can arise, that either how to navigate that life that you've created or that situation that you're in. But more importantly, there is almost, without ever having traveled anywhere, there is an immediate accessibility to a feeling of space. That space was never truly lacking. It was only, we only imagined that it was lacking. And then part of our imagined feeling that space is lacking is then our mind becomes further contracted by the view of waiting and hoping for that day or that time or that vacation or that point where I'll have enough space. And that actually locks in the feeling. It suspends the feeling of spaciousness until we reach that time. Until we reach the vacation or whatever it is. You know, vacation mind's a wonderful thing. It does succeed in giving our mind a little bit more space. But if we're unaware, we often postpone that vacation mind until we get on the vacation. If, on the other hand, we can notice, oh, waiting for the weekend, waiting for work to end for the day, feeling contracted, whatever it is, if that experience itself can simply be received, made space for in awareness, at least for the moments, the sky opens. If one practices this art of making space in a sustained way over many years, our mind's essence begins to shine through, and that essence, what one realizes, what any of you can realize at any time, is that the very nature of your mind is space or spacious. That your own mind, aware, has no limits. It has no height. It has no depth. It has no color. It has no form. It has no inside. It has no outside. It's invisible, yet everything is known so effortlessly. So it is, as in the Tibetan tradition is described, it is our mind's essence is sky-like. And in fact, in the Tibetan tradition, the purpose of practice is to reacquaint ourselves with, to resume abiding in or being the sky-like nature of the mind that underlies the whole of life and death. It is deathless, that is always already spacious, but it gets obscured by the busyness of our lives. And so the very purpose of the practice of meditation is to return us to that sky-like nature. And during this particular period It's funny, year after year, it's now, as most of you know who've sat with me, I've been leading this group for now 40 years. And every few months, there is something unprecedented. There's nothing new under the sun, really. It seems like this is like the worst and the weirdest time ever. But I remember saying that over and over and over these years of sharing the practice. At whatever the present version of how awful, how painful, how hard to bear the world is, and our own individual or collective world, no matter how hard it is to bear, there is a tendency during difficult times to feel like there is no way that I can have any kind of space or relief until all this is resolved. And that is it's an error in perception. It's a loss of contact with that inherent spaciousness and clarity that is in us as us, that is accessible to us anytime, anywhere, even in the midst of the worst time. And so how does one recover that sky-like nature of the mind even in the worst of times? Is by noticing the expression of that sky-like nature, mindful attention. What is the state of my mind right now? And then including that state of postponement, that state of contraction, and just making space for that. And just resting in the sky-like nature of awareness that knows that experience as it is, making room for it. It's so simple. We don't appreciate it. It's so easy. We can't believe it. It's so wondrous to just be aware. It's so vast that it doesn't fit into our limited sense that my mind is stuck between my ears, even though no one has ever seen a mind there. Mind includes anything that can be noticed. So there are all kinds of strategies to help us be reacquainted with or have access to the sky-like nature of our mind, or to learn that art of making space. Maybe to put a light on the maniacal busyness that we tend to get involved with in our lives, associating our well-being with how much we're doing, how productive we are, what we're becoming. Using that as the reminder of our love of just noticing that state of busyness. Like that editorial that I often share on retreats from Amy Krauss Rosenthal. She says, "How are you doing?" I said, "Good, I'm busy." She says, "You name the question, busy's the answer." This is somebody that's actually noticed their mind. Busy's the answer. I know we're all terribly busy doing terribly important things, but more often than not, it's our repeated knee-jerk response. She said, "Have people always been this busy? Did cavemen think they were busy too? This week is crazy. I've got about 10 caves to draw on. Can I meet you by the fire next week?" She says that she thinks it's because the advent of coffee bars and coffee's luscious byproduct, productivity, the joy of doing, accomplishing, crossing off. But then she goes on to say, because she's looked at this, she says, as kids, our stock answer to every question is, What's new? Nothing. What'd you learn at school today? Nothing. She says, I'm starting to think that like youth, the word nothing is being wasted on the young. And we need to reintroduce it into our grown-up vernacular. Now, I say, I don't necessarily think we need nothing. We just need to be aware. That awareness puts us immediately in touch with nothing other than, it's not a blank nothing, because everything is known so vividly when we make space. Even the making space for the most uncomfortable experiences that are presenting themselves in our stream of consciousness. And if we hover long enough, especially when what we discover in our stream of consciousness, in this stream of distress, if we discover that it's of great distress, great pain, great hardship that we're opening to, then the natural response of the heart, because mind and the sky-like nature is the sky-like nature to heart-mind, the natural response is to say, ouch, oh, kindness, caring, compassion. But it is that space of that hovering, that unfurling our mind that allows for that, for the wisdom, for the love, for the intuitive response, for the skillful response to emerge out of that. If we're too busy trying to figure things out, staying in our little narrow world of depending excessively on a rational mind, we lose the jewel of spacious awareness. It's not something we have to create either. It's not something that we have to add. We simply have to remember. I was speaking to someone who was very inspired a couple days ago.
I think you're muted.
They had been sustaining their practice a little bit longer, and they decided they were going to practice for several hours before they had to get together with somebody who is very prone to huge anger attacks. And that person never knows when the person that they were going to be with, a parent figure, was going to go off on them. And so they practiced very intently that particular morning, several hours, and it was so inspiring, the result of it, that they felt the inclination to practice more. So it's helpful if you, even though this is so natural to us, only those who practice it tend to appreciate that. But anyway, this person then went into this situation with a lot more space in their mind. And this person started acting out very angrily, and it takes a lot of courage not to just get right back at them, but they just held space. And they just kind of widened the view a little bit. And like that old Zen expression, the way to control a cow is to give it a big pasture. They gave that angry person, without taking the bait, a big pasture, didn't say anything. And then what started to percolate quite intuitively, quite naturally, was a wise and caring response, and just in a more appropriate response. But had the person just stayed in their usual reactive patterns and not had that space of awareness, they likely would have added to the distress of the moment. Instead, the distress was pacified. Each of us has that same opportunity. It's not rocket science. It's just a matter of nurturing that art that we practice every day, that art of making space. So that's all I have. May we all become as, isn't this what, this is what Rumi said. He says, inside this new love, die. Just die right now. He says, your way begins on the other side. Become the sky. Take an axe to the prison wall. Escape. Walk out like someone suddenly born into color. Do it now. You're covered with thick cloud. Slide out the side, die, and be quiet. That's what a moment of awareness is. It's dying and being quiet. Quietness is the surest sign that you've died. Your old life was a frantic running from silence. The speechless full moon comes out now. So may we all be the speechless full moon.
I have a couple announcements.
Wait, I heard that somebody has
I have a couple announcements.
Oh, thank you, Catherine.
Sorry, I know you were about to ring the bell. Do you want to ring the bell first or?
No, I'll go for the announcements. So please stick
Okay,
around
great.
for a moment. We have a lot
Just a
to.
couple quick things. Just a reminder that we're starting at 6:30 Pacific, starting October 7th for Sangha start.
That's 2 weeks from 2 weeks from today.
Okay, great. And I put a few upcoming retreats in the chat. One is in Texas, one is in Arizona, and October 25th will be a hybrid half-day retreat locally, I believe.
That's correct. Locally
yeah,
at the
and more
San
details
Francisco
to come.
Dharma Collective on 24th and Harrison-ish in the city, in the Mission.
24th in Alabama.
24th in Alabama. Okay.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you.
And just thanks in advance for any dana you might be able to offer to support the Sangha and to support our wonderful teacher and substitute teachers. You can, no amount is required, but we appreciate your generosity, and the ways to do that are also in the chat.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Catherine,
everyone.
and thanks for co-hosting. And let's see if there are any other announcements. Yes, I think the retreat I'm doing in Houston this weekend still has some space. So anybody in the Texas area, come one, come all. Get in touch with Insight Meditation Houston. And then the retreat mid-October, October 18th in Victoria, British Columbia. So come one, come all. That's in person in Victoria. And then Arizona is a little bit later in November, mid-November, but also the day after we do the half day for Mission Dharma on the 25th of October, on the 26th, I'll be offering a retreat online through Spirit Rock. Will be on Loving the House That Ego Built, all about the identity view, which I've done before, but it always comes out a little different. So come one, come all, and keep up with your practice, and I'll see you next week. And feel free to unmute and say goodnight to each other. And thanks for your presence here.
Thank you, Howie.
Night, night.
Thanks, Howie. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Hi, thank you all.
Howie.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.
Take care,
Thanks,
everyone.
Howie. Thanks, everyone, for being
Thank
here.
you, Howie.
Thank you, Howie.
That was great.
Hey,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yo.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Good night,
to be
Howie.
with you all.
Okay.
Okay. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Good night.